Amma, and welcome back to Don't Take the Box. Once again, we have a box that's very late, but we have it, so we'll not waste any more time and get right to it. It's Scrawlrbox January 2021 edition. So, as always, you get the first few. And we have, first of all, the magazine, which is actually quite nice. I like the color. We have this month's artwork, which is also a sort of florally pattern by, this month's featured artist, Chris Lambert. We have not some loose papers or a sketch pad, but like more of a notebook. By Claire Fontaine, which you know by now to be one of my favorites, so this is probably going to be very good paper. And then, most importantly, let's see what we get in this little package. Snip. This looks like markers, and because last time we didn't get any sweet and now we get two. Let's see what they are. Praline. Yeah, that's going to go to my husband because I don't like pralines. But this looks like bubblegum. Original lemon flavor refreshers. Is that bubblegum? I don't know this candy, but it feels like bubblegum. And then we have this month's items list, but you can see what we have here. We get a Scrawlrbox Blackwing, which is really cool because I have one of these. I got one of these a few months ago as a gift, and I really like it. And now we have one like in a sort of teal turquoisey color. This is going to be better, but I will have to find a sharpener before I can move on with this. And then we get a liner, Kuretake Zig Millennium O3 acid-free archival pigment ink, which is, I think, a very, I'll show you the nib. Very, very fine point. I hope it shows up in close-up. Very satisfying noise though. I like that. And then we get 3 Tombow Pro alcohol-based markers. They seem to be dual markers with a brush nib on one end and a chisel tip on the other end. And as you can see, 3 colors, but since I have the supplies list next to me, I'm going to check if they have actual names. No. Well, they probably have, but I can't find it very quickly. Anyway, I'm going to find a sharpener and then we'll get swatching. While I was sharpening, I ate the candy It didn't turn out to be bubblegum, but it was very tasty. Now we have the Blackened Pencil. It doesn't say anywhere which hardness this should be, but most blackening pencils are sort of a medium hardness. I think this is a little softer than the one I have, and I would say this corresponds to a B or a 2B. Let's just test out the eraser as well. But as expected, that works perfectly. Next we have the Millennium O3. Ooh. A very, very sturdy tip. I have a feeling I'm putting a lot of pressure on this. But it holds up quite well. It is, however, on the drier side for a fine liner. I mean, fine liners are not known for being overly juicy. And this is even for a fine liner a little on the dry side. But let's hope that means it will last long, which it should. And then lastly, we get the colors. Let's start off with gray. I must say the nib or the brush tip has a very distinct feel to it. It's not as flexible as an actual brush, but you feel like you have a lot of control over it. That's my impression anyway. That being said, keep in mind that these are alcohol markers, so they do smell a bit. But other than that, they seem to be working perfectly fine. I was a little disappointed with the colors that we got because they don't seem to be very vibrant at first glance, but they are in fact more vibrant once I put them on paper, so I'm not going to complain too much. The important thing is that they kept the color down and that you get nice even strokes, which they seem to be doing just fine. So far, not overly excited, but not disappointed either. So we're going to have to put them to the test. This month's Scrawler challenge is Paisley patterns. some Primal Thoughts. First of all, it's very hard to be super enthusiastic because this is really not my color scheme, nor is it a medium that I would pick out for myself. But I do have some good things to say about all the things that we got. First of all, the paper, which is Clairefontaine and that I really love, worked very well with the alcohol markers. It didn't bleed through even one single drop, so I'm quite impressed because the paper is not very thick and is very smooth. So you wouldn't expect it to hold a lot of ink, but it does, so good points. Secondly, even though it's not my color scheme, I'm very impressed with the nibs that we got on the markers. Brushy style tip. It's not an actual brush, it's just like a really flexible felt tip, but the brushy tips work really well. The thing with alcohol markers is that they are meant for blending out, which I haven't done much, but it worked quite well even for a noob like me. So I'm quite impressed with that. One thing you have to keep in mind though, that they are alcohol markers, so they smell a bit, but you can put yourself over that. Thirdly, the fine liner is, when you actually use it, not as dry as I anticipated, and it's both waterproof and alcohol proof, so it worked really well with the markers that we got. I'm not going to say it's my favorite fine liner because it really isn't, but it worked at least as well as any other fine liner that I ever had, so top marks for that. Lastly, the pencil. Obviously I love it because it's very soft and sturdy and it erased well, but I did have to sharpen it almost 2 minutes to get an actual point because I found that the lead broke. Obviously this happened during transport and it's nobody's fault, really, but it does mean that I get less enjoyment out of a pencil that I would usually enjoy very much, so I'm a bit sad about that. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. Paisley patterns really wasn't my theme, but I did my best to conjure up something, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye!